What's up YouTube? It's Nerd Rage here, and this is probably like the 12th time that I've tried to record this video. For whatever reason, Windows 10 is having a driver issue with my Astro A50s when trying to record voices. So I finally figured it out, and I've had a solution for it, so here we go. To start off, I already have parts in my current PC that I will be using for this new Ryzen build. One of them being my solid state drives. I actually have three. I have a PNY, I have a SanDisk, and I believe I have a Samsung in there. And between the three of them, I've got like 500 gigs worth of storage space, which is great. It works fine for my normal daily use. I've got, I also have, I should say I have an external drive that's a 3 terabyte drive. It's a USB 3.1. My wife puts stuff on there too, but we decided to have that outside of the case instead of the inside. Works great. I enjoy it. Super fast transfer speed rate. So I do have that as well, and I'll be hooking that up. So we've got the hard drive portion of it. I also have a power supply. It's a 650 watt power supply. It's an EVGA. It works great. However, the cables are absolutely ugly, which brings me to my first thing that I'm doing with this new build. Because my case has a window that you can actually, like a full-scale glass window that you can look inside there, I want it to look nice and pretty and clean and just really look good. I don't want it to look like junk and crap. So with that said, I'm going to hide the ugly portion of the cables, and I'm going to use these basic cable extensions. This is a red kit by Cable Mod. As you can see, this has your 24-pin connector, your 8-pin connector to the motherboard, and then for my graphics card, I have an 8-pin and a 6-pin. So those are the only cables that you're really going to see, other than if I put my solid state drives in the front. You can see the solid state drives, but even those are solid black, so I'm not even worried about that. That's just a SATA cable. And so, you know what, now that I think about it, the power cable's ugly too for that. So my drives are going to be in the back. You're not going to see the drives. Problem solved. Don't have to worry about that. So that's the first purchase I made for this build. Let's get on to the case. The case is an Inwin 303. Absolutely gorgeous case. I love this case. And here's a picture of it with, you see the tempered glass portion coming down. It's really easy. All the other tempered glass cases have the screws that you can screw in to hold it. This is literally in this top portion right here. It's press it and it pops down. Very simple, very easy. I love that. That's not why I got it. It just happens to be a nice feature. I got this case because it looks amazing. It's different, and that's, I think, one of the biggest factors for me is being creative with this case. It just makes me look different. I was gonna get a Corsair 460X, which is a gorgeous case, and absolutely liked that case. And I was debating between that one and this one, and I decided to go with this one just simply because I liked that it was different. So, for instance, when you look at the bottom of this, you see that's where the intake fans are going to be. That's where all of the intake for the computer is going to be. There is not going to be a power supply down there. The power supply is actually in a cage. Back, you kind of see right there, it's in that top cage right there. And so you place your three 120 millimeter fans up top, and you place three 120 millimeters on the bottom, and the bottom intakes and the top exhausts. And you can see in this picture, that's the other side, and that's where all the top fans are going to exhaust. I love the case. I'm happy and excited to build on for it. As doing research, this lights up the I/O ports up front. Right now it's a blue LED light, and I found out you can do a mod on it and get an RGB strip and hook that RGB strip up to your motherboard so that it actually changes lights and colors based upon what you have on your motherboard, which I thought was really cool. So I'll definitely be doing that mod. So the next thing we can go to is my motherboard. I got the MSI B350 Gaming Pro Carbon. I was originally going to go for a build with the 1600 and with a lower quality B350 motherboard that was only 80 bucks. But after doing some research and deciding not to do an aftermarket cooler, which I'll get into here in a bit, I went with this one because of how much voltage it can take without overheating. So if some of you may or may not know, when you build a machine and you want to overclock a CPU, most of the time you have to add more voltage to your CPU in order for you to increase the speed. Well, adding more voltage obviously increases the amount of heat that CPU can take, or that CPU gets. And that's why you start having coolers. You have your air coolers, you have your liquid coolers. A lot of people that do overclocking get better results with liquid cooling. So that's why I was looking at getting a liquid cooler, and when I was looking at the 1600, but some wise person on the internet, a guy actually, I like watching his videos, he's very well known for liquid cooling. He's like, his analogy was, you don't want to buy a $150 graphics card and then spend $150 on a liquid cooler, because the amount of performance gain that you're getting out of that $150 graphics card is not worth the cost of the liquid cooler. Now, my processor is a little bit more than 150 bucks, but the same principle applies. Why? And in fact, the liquid cooler all-in-one I was looking at was 150 bucks. It's absolutely amazing, and I can get a cheaper one, but it's the only one. In fact, I'll show you right now. I'll bring it up. It is the NZXT Kraken X52. And I was telling my wife, this sucker has risen in price this week. Literally this week. So it was $150, $156. It was sold out on Newegg, but $156 on Amazon and a couple of the other sites I was looking at. And they just got this in stock now, and it's $216. This RGB LED inside is absolutely amazing. It looks phenomenal, and I really do want it. However, what turned me off wasn't the price, and yes, the other guy made sense, and I kind of go with that, but it was also the fact that their software was buggy. A lot of people were complaining that the Ryzen platform, that it was crashing on them, that it was not working. So basically you would go in, you would set your colors, and as long as you didn't want to change the colors or do anything else, you were fine, because the application would crash. So if you were going to do any music syncing, which it does, which is pretty freaking cool, that wouldn't work, obviously, because the app's not open. If you were going to do any control on your fans and your pump, because a lot of people with liquid coolers set it up for a fan curve. So as the liquid in your radiator, here's your radiator, as this gets warmer, and you have a sensor in there that senses the warmth in that, usually you want to up the fan speed on that cooler so that it cools that off. You don't want to set it at 100% all the time. It's just going to be noisy. Yes, it'll keep it cool, but it'll be noisy. And we're trying to go for a little bit more quiet and not so much noise. So that's why you set those fan things. Well, when the app is closing, it doesn't go off of your set fan curve because it doesn't know it. So it reverts back to a default. It doesn't matter how hot or cold it is, it's going to go for a default. So with all of that, I was like, you know what? I think it's going to be a smarter move at this point in time to not do the liquid cooler, because I am actually going to get a Ryzen 7 1700, which comes with a cooler. It comes with the Wraith Spire cooler. And in fact, with the 1700, this Wraith, you can kind of see it on the side of the box, the Wraith Spire cooler actually has an LED ring around it, which is going to go awesome with the fans that I got. So it's going to match the build great. I can change whatever color I want to on it, and I can overclock it and it's going to perform just fine. Eventually down the road, when I want to look at a liquid cooler again, hopefully more people have RGB stuff, so the price of that liquid cooler goes down. Because literally, the company that makes that, because NZXT buys basically all the components um, from that specific company. Corsair makes one. They don't have the RGB portion of it, but theirs is like $100. So NZXT is just making a killing on this because of supply and demand. Nobody else has something that he can compete as far as the style is compared. So that's gonna push the market. Other companies are gonna start making them. So when they start making them and prices come down and we see what they have, I've got my computer, it's all set up. I can then look at those and then, at some point look at getting it so that I can overclock it to 4 gigahertz because that's what I eventually want to do with my Ryzen 7 chip. So I'm going with the Ryzen 7 chip, going with the stock cooler, going with my B350. So this motherboard is not only does it overclock well, but it's also RGB, which is really cool. You can kind of see it in this picture. It shows the red. It doesn't show the left over here. I think a better picture, honestly, is the MSI site. And I'll bring it up here. I'll just bring it up. If you scroll down on their how-to, they kind of have some information of what you're getting and all that kind of stuff. But you see in here their image that they have is actually changing colors because all of this stuff, and you see the LEDs down here and the LEDs over there, all of that changes color to whatever color that you want to have. And so I was like, that's awesome. I like that. I'm trying to go with an RGB build, so that's just more RGB stuff that I can do, more things that I can change the color on, even though, honestly, I think at the beginning, it's pretty much going to be red. And the reason it's going to be red is because the other portion that I am doing, we'll go back to Newegg. The other thing that I'm bringing over from my current system is my GTX 1070 Gaming X 8 gigabyte. So yeah, I mean you get the picture. I bought this about 6 months ago. I love it. It's been a great performer, but as you can see, it's red. There is no getting around it. It's red. That's painted red, and all of these are LEDs on the side or underneath. It's red. In fact, I think we can get a picture here. No. Maybe, yeah, there you go. So when I bring it in, come on, zoom, 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 whatever. That's how it's going to look on my computer because it's going to face that way. That's what everybody's going to see. That's all red. That's all red. That lights up white, which is nice, but it's red. So that's why I'm going with the red build. I already have this. I'm not getting rid of it. I can't take it back, which I don't want to take it back. I love the card. It performs flawlessly. I have it with just the MSI gaming app. I have it overclocked with that, which is a very, very low overclock, to be completely honest. It doesn't even do much of anything. So that's why I'm going with the red build. Next part. Corsair Vengeance. So here is my RAM. It's on sale, which is humorous because that was the price that I was looking at earlier, and then they decided to bump it $10 and then put it on sale. I'm quoting. You can't see my face, but I'm holding my hands up and quoting, which I found humorous. I was telling my wife I was looking at some other RAM. In fact, I'll just open up another thing here. And here it is right here. I was looking at this RAM. And when I was looking at this RAM, I was still looking at the DD4 3000. It was $144. So it's gone up $10 since earlier this week. Which is crazy. And I mean, RAM, I mean, I think this came out last year. Even normal RAM, I don't know when this came out, but even normal RAM that was out last year is almost doubled in price just because there's a DDR4 shortage. That's a whole nother story. But the biggest issue that I was running into after doing research, yes, it looks good. However, it's not compatible with my motherboard. My motherboard cannot control the RGB colors on that. I can set the RAM speed and manually overclock it, but I can't set the color on it. The only way to set the color is to use G.Skill's application that they came out with. It's a beta application, which can tell you, I mean, if you're into software development, that'll tell you right away. But what their application was doing was it was bricking their RAM. So people would use that application, set the stuff, and then a week, a month, a couple months, whatever, in their Ryzen build, all of a sudden an LED would go out. And so now they have RAM that they bought specifically to have RGB stuff, and it's no longer lit up. And then later on, it would just crash the entire RAM, so the RAM wouldn't even work. The stick would be broken. And people have been trying to RMA their stuff. They've had all sorts of issues. Even people that are, YouTubers that post videos on YouTube are saying, hey, I'm posting stuff on YouTube. You want to, let's get this figured out. Let's fix this. And they're having issues. And they finally got it resolved, but they were waiting like 2 or 3 weeks just to get memory back. And they never really said, hey, we found the issue, we fixed it. They just sent them back RAM. And it's like, okay, so if I put it in my machine, is it going to break again? There really was no communication there. And without that experience and all of that stuff, it's like, I don't want to experience that. I want to have a machine that works, that I can configure, that I'm happy with. I don't want to, because this guy fortunately had some RAM sticking around that he could sit in that computer and still use the machine. I don't. So if I had to RMA my RAM, I would be sitting without a computer until I got that RAM back. And I don't even want to deal with that. That would just piss me off. It'd be like, I don't have a computer. I got this brand new computer. I can't even use it. It's just sitting there. That would drive me nuts. So that's why I didn't go with the G.Skill, and that's why I went with Corsair. And the Corsair Vengeance actually is compatible with my motherboard. I can change the color on these things. You can kind of see these various different colors. I can change the color to whatever I want to, and I can coordinate that on my motherboard software. The MSI software can change that. So I was like, perfect. I will take it. Everybody's, been happy with it. The only downside to this RAM is they haven't been able to overclock it or even bring it up. So if you got like the 3200, you couldn't get it to 3200. Most people can only get it to just under 3000, which is fine. Honestly, that's one of the reasons why I'm buying the 3000 RAM, is because most people can't overclock it. And so I'm like, whatever, this will work just fine for me. So that's what I'm doing, and that's the RAM that I'm getting. I'm going to be super happy with it. I'm super excited about it. So let's go into the... Oh, so here's the case. I had that tab up, forgot to... That's the case I was looking at. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I like it. I just like my NWin 303. It's going to be... I'm super excited. So here's a little bit of video, or let me touch back on my fans. Do I not have them up? I don't have them up. Alright. I will pull them up. The fans that I'm getting, I got spoiled by my wife. She said that I can go ahead and get these as a pre-birthday present, if you will. My birthday's not even until September, so I got a few months. But instead of, I was going to purchase these really crappy fans, and she was like, do you really want to waste $30 on these crappy fans, or would you rather just get your thermal take, get your fans that you want now? And I'm like, well, shoot, I'll just get my fans that I want now then. But you realize they're expensive. I mean, you guys can see, $100 for 3 fans. I'm like, I need at least 2 packs of those, so that's $200 right there. And she's like, yeah, you can go ahead and do that. So, wife spoiled me, but they look amazing. And I'm going to show you this video. And you can kind of see, I'm going to turn the volume down. But, I mean, that's synced to music. That's awesome. To me, that is so cool. And they look amazing. Absolutely look amazing. And the stuff that you can do, we don't need to hear the guy talk, but you see the controls, so I'll have the controls just like this, and I can change, I mean, literally anything on there. Um, you know, I can change them all to one color. I mean, he's got that one color for all of them. That's to white. Um, you can change it so that they're multicolored. Um, well, he's got green. Oh, that's still multicolored. You know, that's a red and a blue, a red and green. There's like Christmas. Shoot, I can make a little Christmas thing during Christmas holiday. Whatever that I want to do. I mean, I can have it do all that stuff. So that's why I wanted those fans. That to me is a lot of fun. That looks really cool. It looks clean. There's a lot of builds that I have seen of people making with their the Inwin 303 cases, and it's been gorgeous. In fact, I can do a search for you, Inwin 303, because, you know, I got time on my hands, I guess. But like this guy does a really good job of building his out. He does a purple and white build, kind of the Stormtrooper thing, which is really cool. I can't do that just simply because of my video card, because it's red. That dude bought a ton of equipment. Look at all that. That's crazy. You see him build. I'm going to do the same thing when all of my stuff comes in. It'll be coming in over the next week. So, but it's clean. I like how that looks. I like the 3 up there. I'll have 3 on the bottom. I don't know what he was doing with the double thing. I'm not going to do the double. I'm just doing the single. But it just looks, it looks different and looks clean. It looks good. I don't plan on having it look horrible. I think that I can make it look really, really nice. I've got a bunch of different videos that I've got saved up of how I like this one. This guy does a clean build, and I like how it looks. Now, it's a different case. Keep that in mind. But it looks good. It looks clean. And he does water on it, which looks amazing. And he's got the Thermaltake fans on there as well. He's got these 3 blue ones up there, but he's got the red build. He's got the Gaming Pro on there from MSI. I believe his is an Intel. Come on. I mean, you can kind of see he's got purple down there. He's starting to play with the colors and do all of that stuff. Come on, do the close-up. He does a close-up of it towards the end. Stop talking. Stop talking. There we go. So that to me, that's a red build, and that looks clean. I like that. I could do that. Now the case that I have, I would love that case, but that case is like almost $200, so I didn't get that case. But I can do something similar with my build with all of the red, and that to me was my inspiration, if you will, because that case is gorgeous. So there you go. That's awesome. That is so cool to me. That is, like, I'm getting all excited. Can't wait to get my stuff and make it. But that's the inspiration of my build. I'll keep you guys posted. I'll update it, like I said, once I get all the parts in. Now that I've figured out this mic ordeal, I will try and record it. I've only got my phone, but it does record 1080, so I'll record it. I'll do the time-lapse stuff. I'll probably do some commentary on it, and I'll let you guys see the final build, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Thanks.